for an interview, and he sent me out the door. I came in and said, "Try again next time, buddy." You know, and I was like, all right, dude. My parents were more upset about that than I was, because I realized how volatile my life had been. You know, there just wasn't enough variables that were in place, and Tom saw that as, you know, just wait 6 months, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
So the hour has come to hear the testimony of Jonny Ramone. So the title of this sermon is The Holy War. And I don't think it's by accident that my testament falls on the day of Yom Kippur, which is a day of atonement. And it's actually the holiest day in Judaism. Wow. So, I grew up in the church. My parents are both believers. And I grew up with 3 wonderful siblings that were very encouraging and really just taught me how to act in the world. Wow. And that's where I got most of the things that rubbed off was from them. And I am the youngest of my family. I was raised with those foundational Christian values, but my parents never equipped me for war. Wow. And I felt like I grew up with mostly my identity in sports and athletics. You know, I just felt like it was easier for me to introduce myself like, hey bro, like, yeah, I do this, I do that. Yeah. And that was like the extension of my identity. Yeah. And it wasn't until I transitioned into college that I started to realize like, dude, eventually this stops, you know, like, yeah, I'm athletic, but like eventually that's not gonna be something that's important for me in my life, you know? Yeah. And so, but I was a very disagreeable, a very rebellious child, to say the least, growing up. And I had trouble with school and I had trouble with authority. I didn't have trouble with the cognitive side of school. It was always the people. Yeah. And so I remember when I was in 3rd grade, I remember there being a lot of arbitrary and sort of relative rules that I just concluded were just nonsense, you know. And I was like a child. I was a child when I decided that. So now who knows though that rules that are designed for your own good are not always for your own good. Right. So when I was in 3rd grade, I remember there was a very contemptible teacher, a very dislikable teacher that didn't like me from the outset. And I was a child, and I realized that something was wrong in this dynamic. Yes. And at the age of, I was probably 10 years old, and my transgression was great. There came a day where I understood I was an inborn leader. I consider my ability to galvanize and excite those around me as the greatest asset I possess and the greatest gift that God has given me. So it was in 3rd grade, I remember sort of enticing my peers to do something on the playground that eventually, you know, the teacher called me out, and she tried to use calling me out, and I remember the words until the day that I passed. She said, "There he is. He is the one. He is the leader." And she tried to use that to get me in trouble, to set me apart, to get me in trouble. But what she did not know was that she was inadvertently causing a revelation to unfold in my life. And so she had no idea. But so my journey of discipleship began when I was 22 years old. I was baptized in the River Jordan. Wow. When I took a 10-day tour to Israel. And after that point, I remember for the first time, I started to feel guilt towards certain things that I never had felt. And it was after that, I started to notice forgivelessness, pride, addiction, all these things started to vanish from my life. And it was one thing after another. And now the rapturous joy that I live with, that's usually enough for people to say, who have you been with? And so that's my testimony for Jonny Ramone.